The USFL Gambling Podcast, Week 6 preview, picks, and DFS episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Shady Rays. Yes, SGPN is teaming up with Shady Rays for Shady May. Get 50% off Shady Rays using the promo code SGPN, and then go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/shady for your chance to win $500 of cold, hard cash. We're also brought to you by Edge Boost. Yes, Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to get started today. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
Hey, this is Eric Metcalf. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Presents.
Football is a unique American experience. A game described by one turn-of-the-century critic as crude and barbaric, with little chance of survival. But survive it did.
I don't give a damn who you are. This is America, Jack. You know how to play winning high-dose football? Well, I don't get it.
Being played in the United States Football League.
Touchdown! Oh my God! Quarterback is toast.
We sometimes forget that football, being the consummate team sport, is a great deal more successful when you do play as a unit and don't rely on individual talent. Frankly, I'm impressed with the USFL.
America, this league is good for America, and football is a sport that is made for television.
That is football.
I'm like, spring football is going to work in America.
You play to win the game. And now it is time for our USFL report.
And we are back on the USFL Gambling Podcast. It is time for the USFL report. And I mean, look, we are here for week 6, our preview, picks, power rankings, and DFS. And remember, you can watch this on YouTube, youtube.com, USFL Gambling Podcast. You will get all of that sweet action. In case you're wondering just who the hell you're listening to, well, my name is Colby Swigga Database Day, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, tailless pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. See you at night.
It was a shock. I thought, it's a mistake. You know, I'm like Popeye or Buffhead in the cartoons. And those kind of people, you know, I don't have anything in my life.
I didn't understand half that.
Don't worry, it's old Dundee. I'm still in South America. I'm the lone guy in South America demanding the USFL on at the bars. All right, and I will do that until the cows come home, baby, because the United States Football League is rocking. I am joined by my co-host. Give it up for former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi-oh!
Let's go. We got a whole division, a whole northern division with the same record. Chaos. This is week 6. We're at week 6 is about to happen, so we're at the midpoint in the season. Chaos, I tell you. All right, we are also joined by third man in the booth, the DFS god himself, and we invite you to come play USFL DFS with us. Give it up for the rooftop IPA drinking, homebrew making, tobacco road living, the free life giving, former Herndon Basketball League MVP. Give it up for NC Nick in the place to be.
There we go. What's going on, guys? It is the second half of the season already. Jesus, flying by.
It is the second half of the season. We just got some intel that the ratings were back from the XFL championship. They were not as good as USFL year 1 championship game. championship game-wise. And, we also had I'm going to quickly try to find this right now. I'm unprepared as usual, but I believe the CEO or the president of Fox had just said some very kind words regarding the United States Football League, and basically saying we're going to invest more money into the league. So how do I pronounce this? Lachlan Murdoch says USFL doing well for Fox, and will continue to invest more them and NBC over the long term.
There we go.
More money. So we got that. But hey, you know what? That's all business. All right. If I wanted to listen to business, I would have done a lot of different things in my life. Let's just talk about football, baby, because this league, the standings, right now, and we delayed our power rankings because we didn't have NC Nick there. We try to make sure that he's there for our power rankings. We don't want to disrespect his power rankings and just release ours.
It's probably the best one anyway. So, it's without mine, it's not much to look at.
Well, we're gonna release those things first, then we'll jump into the games, then we'll drop DFS. But before we do all that, I want to tell you that the USFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Edge Boost. Yes, we are super excited to announce an exclusive early access partnership with Edge Boost, the world's first bet now, pay later Visa card. Similar to buy now, pay later programs like Affirm and Afterpay. Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest and pay back the advance over 4 equal weekly installments. That's right, 0% interest, baby. And Edge currently offers $2,500 in advances as you build a repayment history. My Edge Boost double down play of the day is, just going to tip my hand, Maulers, minus the points. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to sign up today. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge. You must be 21 years or older to use. Only valid in legal gambling states. Problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. We are back on the USFL Gambling Podcast, and I am curious, NC Nick. So here we are. If the playoffs ended today, or if the season ended today, not the playoffs. I can't talk. Drinking margaritas with the family over here. But we would have Generals and Maulers in the North despite everyone having the same record. We would have the Breakers and the Gamblers in. Your defending champs, the Stallions, and the runner-up, the Stars, would be eliminated if the season ended today. That is a bit crazy. And honestly, you're looking at the league. Even the Showboats, they're still alive. They're one game out of the playoffs. What do you make of the league right now, NC Nick? With all this, with these records, this parity.
Yeah, from year one to year two, it's a big difference. Year one, there was kind of the haves and the have-nots. Year two, this past week 5, you had not only did all 5 dogs cover, all 5 dogs won straight up. That tells you something right there. It's been a crazy season, and just as soon as you think you figured out a team, they go ahead and lay it, play an awful game like the Breakers did last week. So it's been tough to handicap. I'm not gonna lie. Started off hot last couple weeks, little iffy, but hopefully the further we go into the season, we start getting a real feel for all these teams. And but yeah, so far, man, it's been pretty wild.
Pretty wild. Let's get to our power rankings. All right. I don't care about record. I want right now who you think the best team in the league is.
I'm still going to go Breakers, who happen to have the best record at 4-1. I'm going to say last week was an aberration, and they were, thinking a little. They thought they were going to be able to come in there and win the game easily, and that doesn't happen in football.
Patty C, who do you think the best team in the league is?
It's trending. It is trending towards Pittsburgh. I'm not going to lie, but I have to say New Orleans still. Have to say New Orleans.
I'm with you. I'll go Breakers, but I completely agree. I made this case on the SGP show. I think the Maulers have the best defense I've ever seen in a spring league. That goes back to years of watching the World League, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of spring ball we've watched in our day. And I'm like, damn, that Maulers defense, what, they create 5 turnovers last week? They're looking like the 2000 Ravens. What's that?
Getting after it. That Olive Sagapolo dude second in the league with 4 sacks. By the way, Breland Speaks, the league leader in sacks for Michigan, is the guy. You ever see that clip of the Ole Miss guy like waving at the camera from on the ground? He's got the football.
Yeah,
that's him.
Oh, really?
That guy's got to get featured quite a bit here.
Oh, definitely. But honestly, I mean, you saw Troy Williams is a difference maker. He's led the team in rushing 3 straight weeks. He was the USFL MVP of the week. I kind of think Pittsburgh is definitely my number 2. I'll put it like that. They're definitely my number 2. And I'm like you, Petty C. Show me another good performance with him starting at quarterback this week. I might move them to number 1. And see, Nick, who's your second team?
I agree with what you guys are saying with Pittsburgh. I was doubting them last week. Now, beating Michigan 23-7, that's nothing to write home about. So they are trending in the right direction. If the quarterback play continues to improve, they're going to be a wrecking to deal with.
I was about to say, like, the big thing to me is Michigan's defense is not bad, right?
Yeah.
Well, you look at Troy Williams was 15 of 19, 79%, almost 10 yards of completion, 2 touchdowns and an interception, and then he ran for another 60 on the ground with a score. That is the difference to me. And you know, we knew the Maulers had a decent defense last year. I think it's even better this year with Ray Horton and some of those other guys they got, Reuben Foster. But we said if they could, you know, those double running backs, those white running backs, and then Madre London, they have 2 white running backs and Madre London. They don't really create anything, but Troy Williams really does. And
he does.
And that to me is enough to get this team.
Yeah. I mean, after the breakers, it's wide. It is wide open. What's the latest on Kenji Bahar? Did I hear that he's out for the year now?
I didn't hear that he was out for the year.
I might be getting that mixed up. So he's still out, though, I take it. The Gamblers deserve to be in the conversation, as do the Stallions or the Generals. But you know what? I'll go out on a limb and agree with you guys. Well, apparently it's not a limb. It seems to be the consensus. Because I'll put Pittsburgh at number 2.
Well, here's the thing. I think they have the best defense in the whole league.
I agree with that.
I think they have one of the better special teams in the whole league. And then if they can just do a little bit on offense, which all of a sudden they found Troy Williams, that's how they're going to win. And I'm pretty sold. So at number 3, I'm curious where you guys are going to go. I think I'm going to go with the New Jersey Generals. Look, I understand I don't know how they lost that game last week. I know 3 Darius Victor fumbles and an interception, but like they were averaging like 8 yards a play. Philly was averaging 1.9 yards a play, and Philly won. Figure that out. So I kind of think the Generals are the 3rd best team in the league. So I am going to go in on the New Jersey Generals as the 3rd best team in the league. Obviously, I think Birmingham would be number 1 or 2 had they didn't have all these injuries. Scarborough, Jamar Smith, Scooby Wright's been dinged up. Marlon Williams is out for the year. So I'm going to go with the New Jersey Generals. Nick?
Well, if you like defense, then that's the route you're going, because the Generals and Maulers are the only 2 teams that their points against is less than 100. So, you know, looking at that statistic, which is not a very, you know, in-depth stat, but you could argue that they're the 2 best defenses in the league. I'm with you.
I'm with you. Number 3.
I'm with you. Generals number 3. Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, Patty C. I'm curious what you're doing at number 3.
I am going in the opposite direction. By the way, the offenses in the North, no one has scored more than 96 points, right? And in the South, no one has scored less than 97. So the offense is way better in the South. The defense is way better in the North. I guess that's kind of typical football over the course of history. So, but we don't have the elements to make that the reason for that. So I don't know why that is the case. But either way, I'm going a different direction. Gamblers are on a 3-game winning streak. It's all because Mark Thompson's there. They're a different team with him there. And I'm going to put them as my number 3 team.
That is interesting. We'll see. I think without Kenji Bahar, though, Terry Wilson, yes, he did complete that 50-yard touchdown, but besides that, I don't think that passing offense did much. We'll see because Bahar seemed to be coming into his own. But, all right, he's got Houston at number 3. At number 4 for me, see, the Bahar injury messes with me because I think I'd be pretty sold on Houston at number 4.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm taking Houston at 4 because without Bahar, they just beat Birmingham, so that's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to say Houston 4, Birmingham 5.
I mean, are we doing this with, like, the players that are injured, or are we doing this with the players that aren't,
No, because a lot of those guys are out for the year, so you can't,
you can't count on them coming back.
Yeah. So, Patty C, who's your 4th team?
I'm with you. I think New Jersey is just so stacked. I feel like they've been on the short end of the stick on a few breaks. Like you said, they're kind of in their own way. Even though they're 2-3, they've scored more points than their opponents this year. So I don't know. I think they're still a pretty good team, and you can't go to sleep on them. So they're my number 4.
All right, so we have the same top 4 teams, just in different order. Well, me and Nick have the same exact, because I will go Houston at 4. At 5, I'm going to go the Birmingham Stallions.
Correct. That's
okay.
The play.
So me and Nick have the same exact thing. Patty C, do you have Birmingham at 5?
I mean, Birmingham hasn't been that good, in the past few weeks. They skated by Pittsburgh, but barely by a hair. But then have also lost to Houston and New Orleans, which doesn't look as bad. They're on thin ice. I mean, they're fading right now. Another loss, and they're certainly going to fade out of the leaderboard the power rankings, I should say. But right now, I guess I'll keep them there. The record is what it is. The next best record in the league. Every other team is a losing record. They have a winning record. But I'm not so convinced that they're there for the long term.
All right, so now is where it gets interesting.
Yeah, it does.
Now is where it's like, okay, at number 6 to me. Oh man, I'm going Michigan Panthers.
He can't do it. He can't bring himself to give homie down in Memphis any love.
See, here's where we differ because I'm going Showboats.
I'm going Showboats too, man.
I'm a little worried they may not be able to keep creating turnovers at the same pace as they have the last 2 weeks.
Their offense has not been. Patty C's just looking at the final scores. Their offense hasn't. They haven't. I mean, Carnell Lake has done a great job defensively. I'll give you that. The offense still has a lot of question marks to me.
Very true.
Now Michigan, I could say the same thing, but at least Michigan moves the ball. They just turn the ball over in the red zone, which is obviously, not good. But I kind of trust their run game. Memphis cannot run the ball. Michigan's got 2 capable backs. I trust Michigan more than Memphis. Now we go to number 7.
Wait, I guess that's going to be Memphis for you. But let me counter your argument there, because Memphis has won 2 in a row. They did just beat Michigan by 19 points 2 weeks ago.
Still, that was a gimmick, 19 points.
See, he won't give Todd Haley any credit. Then they go and beat the best team in the league last week in New Orleans, right? The week before that, they beat one of the better teams, or they lost at the last second against one of the better teams in the league in Houston. Sure, they got shellacked by a healthy Birmingham and lost a close one at the beginning of the year against a shitty Philly team. They're on the rise, though. They are better than Michigan right now.
No. Michigan had more yards in that game. They just fumbled the strip sack, returned for a touchdown, and then Josh Love 2 red zone picks. That's how they lost that game. Michigan was the better team that day, and they got
29-10, buddy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was a strip sack. That was really like a 1-possession game, and they won the turnover battle 4-0 that day. So, sure, but look, how about rushing yards? All right. They had 94 in the Michigan game. That's like a great day for Todd Haley, right?
Yeah.
94. Then you jump down to the Breakers game, and they ran for a cool 35 on 23 attempts. 23 attempts for 35 yards. We'll see if your thing, if your Todd Haley offense works over the long haul.
Again, it's so funny because Todd Haley was supposed to be the guy that brought, power running backs back to Pittsburgh after Arians had been, turning them into a passing finesse team. We're bringing in Todd Haley, power run, and here, he's got times change, I guess. And the USFL is old school as shit. Todd Haley might be tough for the current NFL, but he is a pussy in the USFL.
Well, I'll tell you this. There's only one team that's more pussy, and I think that's the Philadelphia Stars, who, one of the most impressive wins ever, in my opinion. We've watched a lot of football in our lives. And honestly, the Generals were getting 7 yards of play. And 354 yards of offense to 166, and they lose? It's almost impossible to do.
And they lose to a team that didn't score a touchdown.
Yes, it's almost impossible to do. And how about what they did on the ground? They did a nice 61 yards on the ground for, I think it was 25 carries. So I actually will take Memphis because I can tell you this. I do buy into Carnell Lake's defense. And Philly, I just think is terrible right now. So I will take the Memphis Showboats at number 7 and Philly at number 8. Curious what you're going to do here, Nick, at 7 and 8.
I was close to putting the Stars at 7 and Michigan at 8 because if you look at the Panthers, that 2-0 start was complete fool's gold. The last 3 games, they've given up 28, 29, and 23 points while only scoring 13, 10, and 7. So they've, 3 straight double-digit losses. The Michigan is not good, but they still might be a hair above the Stars because I'm not buying into that Stars win last week. It was fluky. They did win the turnover battle 4-0, and that's pretty much why they won. So I guess I'm going to go Panthers Stars.
Eddie C?
I'm right there with you. We're going Panthers Stars. Philly just doesn't have any kind of I don't know. They don't have any. They're the softest team I've ever seen in football. I can't say that seriously, but they're certainly the softest team in this league. They haven't been able to run the ball with any consistency. They did pull a miracle comeback win, but they are the worst team in the league until they get that running game figured out. I think
their O-line sucks.
Yeah, and their D-line, and they can't stop the run either. That's
not a recipe for winning football.
Yeah, they haven't been. I don't know how the hell they won that game last week, but they did, and they're alive, baby. All right, so those are our power rankings. Let's shift gears now over to Saturday, Sunday. We got USFL football action. Once again, 4 games this weekend, and yeah.
There are those who say that the fun has gone out of football, that has become too predictable. For them, let me present 30 seconds of football, USFL style.
The USFL, where football is still a game.
Still a game, baby. Let's hop on into it. Saturday, USA Network. Where I'm at, that's a hard find. All right? But don't worry. We've done it. This game is at 11:30 Central Time because that's the time zone I'm in currently. But so 10:30 Eastern? No, I don't know. 12:30 Eastern to 9:30 Western, I believe. If
there
my
we
math
go.
is right.
There we go.
We got the Liberty Bowl, the Memphis Showboats, the red-hot Memphis Showboats, Carnell Lake, Todd Haley. They used to be Pittsburgh guys. And now they host the Pittsburgh Maulers and the MVP of the week, Troy Williams, the former Utah Ute quarterback. I'm seeing the Maulers at -2.5 at the Liberty Bowl. And I'll just open things up with lock it up.
The Maulers are
Maulers. That's right. Look, I made our case already. I think we are seeing a team grow up in front of our eyes. And I think we might have a Maulers Breakers Freedom Cup. So I am laying the 2.5. I am locking it up. Now, I also want to mention that the over-under is sitting at 42, and I lean under because this defense for the Maulers is absolutely fantastic. I don't know that. Well, we know Memphis doesn't run the ball even against bad rush defenses. They can't run the ball. So against the Maulers, it ain't gonna fly. I think we're looking at something like a 21 to 9, 21 to 6 type of game. Laying the 2.5. I'm going on the under. Curious, NC Nick, what you're doing here at the Liberty Bowl Saturday morning.
Well, considering our power rankings, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a consensus Maulers pick that we're all going to lay the 2.5. If you look at the
home field advantage at the Liberty Bowl, though,
who gives a shit? Defense travels, buddy. And if you're looking at just box scores, there's only one bad box score from Pittsburgh is when they lost to New Jersey. What was that final score again?
Yeah, it was like it was something bad, but I don't think Williams played that. He didn't start.
Well, and it was 20-3, but that game was 3-3 at the end of the third quarter. So it really was nowhere near as bad as the final score might indicate. So they've been in every game, and they're only getting better. And I do think that Memphis loss last week was, you could argue maybe the last 2 weeks where they've won the turnover battle, I think 3-0 and 4-0. So I don't think that's going to continue. Give me the Maulers all day. And I also like the under because it will be a low scoring affair.
Patty C, you're Pittsburgh. You're a Pittsburgh fan. You know,
I am a Pittsburgh fan. I loved Cornell Lake. Interesting to see that he is undoubtedly the better coach at this point in his defensive backfield than Rod Woodson in his Steeler days. That's what happens when you don't rely on speed and God-given talent. You have to learn how to play the game of football. So that often is the case. That's why you have who's the Alabama offensive coordinator now? Tommy Rees.
Yeah,
made it as a coach despite being the biggest lawn chair ever. Look, Cornell Lake. Yeah, I just think I'm gonna throw a curveball at you guys. I think the home field advantage is a little bit of a factor here, not much of one. But I also think they just beat the best team in the league last week. They whooped Michigan the week before. They should have beaten Houston the week before, like we already talked about. They're right there with Pittsburgh, improving quickly. And I think this is going to be a close game. Now, 2.5 points, not a huge spread, so I don't feel great about this, but something tells me Memphis is ripe to pull the upset here.
Wow.
Patty C, you can take the Showboats plus 1,800 to win the Freedom Cup if you want right now. And by the way, the Maulers are plus 700. Get on in over there still. They're in the playoffs if it ended today. So what are you doing, folks? But Patty C's on the Showboats. What are you doing total-wise, Patty C, on 42?
I think you got to go under. I mean, I don't think Memphis's offense is bad, but Pittsburgh's defense is so good that game, you're right, for them both getting over 21 or getting near 21 seems unlikely. Not impossible, but, I mean, Pittsburgh's offense they're one-dimensional. And I don't know if Troy Williams is going to be able to, be as effective if they're trying to – it's one thing when your defense is completely snuffing out the other team and you can open up your offense. But if you're trying to keep up with the other team, then it puts a little pressure on. And I think he might take a step back statistically this week.
I just did a weather check, and I'm seeing rain in Memphis all Saturday. Does that sway, Todd Haley, the only way they move the ball is throwing the ball. Does that affect your handicap, Patty C?
That does a little bit. That does. If they're not throwing the ball and they don't run the ball, then maybe you go Pittsburgh there. I don't know. Maybe you swayed me. Let's go Maulers. Screw it.
Well, it's only Thursday. Let's wait and see a little bit to see if that rain is actually going to happen is what you want to say. You want to say, all right, if you're not feeling great about potential weather with Memphis, then you just hold off and wait until Saturday morning.
Sure. Well, that's true. Maybe Nick just swayed me back. I'm clearly committed to my pick here. I mean, when I think about it, Colby told me there was going to be a torrential downpour in New Jersey a few weeks back, and it was clear skies throughout the whole game. So
Colby's known for this. He's known for claiming bad weather. And look,
I'm no meteorologist. All I do is Google Memphis, Tennessee weather, and they say raining all day. So
a couple days ahead is a little too early to tell. So I would say just give it some time.
Hold tight. All right.
All right. So he's on the under. He's on the Showboats. We are on the Maulers. All right. The other game Saturday. Once again, I don't expect that USA number to do much. It'll probably be like 150,000, 200,000 people watching because USA It's a hard channel to find.
Right.
But the next game is Fox, and we got the Birmingham Stallions at 4:00 Eastern, heading to Ford Field, that filthy roller rink, to take on the Michigan Panthers. This is an interesting one because this line has jumped up. I'm seeing Michigan now at Nick, what'd you get this line at last?
All right. It is Michigan plus 5.5 currently.
So that line has come down a little bit since yesterday when I did the show with SGP. So Birmingham minus 5.5. The over-under sitting at 44.5. Guys, Birmingham's too injured for me. And I don't know if you saw this. This is a suicide play by me because Carson Strong's injured. Brian Lewerke got the call up, a local lawn chair. And maybe those Michigan fans come out to support their boy Lewerke. Here's my thing. The Stallions don't look like the same team. They're too beat up. I cannot lay that many points. I actually think Michigan, if they can just take better care of the ball in the red zone, I think they're the worst team in the USFL in the red zone. Then they'll win this game outright. They will win it outright if that's the case. And watch out. I think Corbin or Stevie Scott could have a good day on the ground. So I'm going to take the points and the Panthers. I do say sprinkle some on the money line here. And I will also play the over on 44.5, as I think both offenses will be able to move the ball a little bit. NC Nick, what are you doing at Ford Field?
Yeah, you have you hold Michigan in higher regard than I do. I think they're one of the two worst teams in the league, and maybe even the worst team. Like I mentioned earlier, they're only averaging 10 points per game over their last 3 contests. I'm going to ride Birmingham. I know Birmingham's been up and down here, but I still believe in Skip Holtz. I still believe that Alex McGough is the much better quarterback in this game. So I'm gonna ride Birmingham, but I'm also gonna ride the under because Michigan just can't score now. So I'm gonna go Birmingham in the under.
Woo, Patty C, what are you doing Saturday afternoon in Detroit, Michigan?
I'm going different than both of you altogether, if that's possible. I'm taking Birmingham and I'm taking the over. Look. Alex McGough is still there. Now, what's the status on Davion Davis? Is he he's healthy, presumably?
Well, I have not seen a injury report for this game yet. Probably will come out tomorrow. So everyone follow USFL Gambling on Twitter at USFL Gambling. We will retweet that or post about that, but I don't know that status right now.
Well, if he's in, you got the number 2, number 3, and number 4 receivers in the league, as well as the number 3 quarterback in the league. Not to mention that McGough just passes the eye test for me. He's very mobile. He extends plays. Even though they don't have all the talent in the world at their disposal, they're still Birmingham. They're still the reigning champs, and Michigan still sucks ass. So. Give me Michigan, and I think
give you Michigan. You mean give
me Birmingham,
yeah.
And I think they'll find a way to cover the over.
That's right. Paint me a Birmingham here. Come on.
Well, let's shift over to Sunday because I'm going to beat the shit out of you guys this week on picks. Sunday we got a FS1, 11 a.m. Noon on Eastern, 11 a.m. Central. Sometimes Pacific. I don't fucking know. All right. The Breaker 1-2 is coming out their first loss of the season. They're at Ford Field taking on the Philadelphia Stars. This line has crept up. I'm now seeing it at 7.5. Yesterday it was at 7. And I guess what? I'm not concerned. I am laying the 7. Now the total's at 47.5. It's a big number. It's a big number. I'm going to go under on the 47.5. I will lay the 7.5. Give me the Breakers. I think the Breakers are going to win this game. Give me a 28-10 final in Detroit. Nick, what are you doing with the Stars and Breakers?
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier that last week was all about the Dogs. Dogs went 4-0 ATS, went 4-0 straight up. That doesn't happen 2 weeks in a row. I'm on another favorite here. New Orleans still has the league's leading passer, leading rusher, leading receiver, and they're not going to commit as many turnovers as they did last week. Plus, the Stars are not going to win the turnover battle 4-0 like they did last week. So I think the Breakers really get back here. I think this is a very lopsided game. I'm actually going to go over. I think New Orleans could be in the 30s themselves. And Philly's always good for, at least 14 or so. So give me the Breakers. Give me the over.
Breaker 1-2. Patty C, come in now. What are you doing in Detroit?
Again, I am different than both of you in some regard or another.
Slicing it down the middle. I like it.
Well, again, I guess did we both take the Breakers? I guess I can't be different than both of you. Colby, you went the under and the Breakers?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm with Colby then. I don't think Philadelphia can generate enough offense to get to that number. What is it, 47 we said?
47.5 I'm seeing.
47.5. Yeah, I don't think – unless New Orleans absolutely throttles them offensively, which is a possibility, then they could hit the over. But 7.5, a little slow on the draw, letting it creep up, and that hook, not having to worry about that now. But I still think New Orleans easily covers it. Look, Matt Colburn is their leading rusher on the year of Philadelphia with 107 yards through 5 weeks.
That's sad.
That's 21.
To be fair, they don't even commit to him that much.
Yeah, it's not really his fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a system. Bart Andrews, what did they lose? What did they have last year that they don't have this year?
Brian Scott started the first couple games, but Cookus came in. But I would say, I think
line play. The line play was better.
And the defense wasn't great last year, but they created a shit ton of turnovers, and that is not the case this year. So that's pretty much been the what's been wrong for the Stars this year. So there's that. Okay, I think game of the night or game of the weekend, I should say, is going on Fox at 4 p.m. Eastern. 1 o'clock Pacific. The New Jersey Generals are in Memphis, Tennessee at the Liberty Bowl, taking on the Houston Gamblers. Now, this line opened up at Generals -2. It is now at Generals -5.5. I'm seeing the over-under at 45.5. Kenji Bahar is out for the Gamblers. Terry Wilson in. They won with him last week, but can they do it again? I think the line is telling you everything. I'm all over the Generals. I think the Generals are going to fix their mistakes. They're better than their record. And I think they're going to put it on the Gamblers. And I think because the strength of the Generals is that D-line is really good for the Generals. I think they can actually limit Mark Thompson. And Terry Wilson, short of that one great deep ball he had, struggled passing the ball. I think that's the difference in the game. Generals, I'm laying the 5.5. I will say, I'll take that thing all the way up to 7. At 7 is where I don't feel comfortable. So the total's at 45.5. I will play the over on 45.5 too. NC Nick, what are you doing here at the Liberty Bowl?
Well, I'm definitely a little concerned that the Gamblers might be one-dimensional without Kenji Bahar. And now that there's some game tape on Terry Wilson, New Jersey will be able to plan for him a little bit, maybe more than last week. But I think 5.5 is too much for a Gamblers team that has proven themselves to be right there with the Generals. And Mark Thompson is maybe the best running back other than Wes Hills. So I'm going to take the points here, even though I think the favorites do a lot better this week. I got to have at least one dog here. So give me Houston plus the points and give me the under.
Patty C, what are you doing at the Liberty Bowl Saturday night?
Mark Thompson is the best running back, period. Wes Hills, very much consistent. But in terms of, pop off the screen talent, I don't know if that's
I agree with that. I agree.
The judge of the best running back, but Thompson, yeah.
Don't sleep on Darius Victor. Yeah, I know he had 3 fumbles.
Yeah, a couple rough weeks here, but he's still consistent. You can't really sleep on him.
Distant third.
I don't know if I agree distant, but
I would say Trey Williams is getting in the mix too. They got Reggie Corbin. They got a lot of good backs in this league.
They do. You're right. Corbin is definitely slept on. Look, I think it's too many points. I got to ride the Gamblers here, and the over-under is tough, 45.5. I just have a gut feeling that it's going to be a little bit of a defensive slugfest, and we're going under here.
All right, well, look, What's the lock? What's the one you feel best about? I think it's the Maulers.
Maulers.
I'm laying the 2.5. Patty C's on the Showboats, though. I'm curious, Patty C, what's the one bet you feel best about?
I think it's New Orleans, Philly. Even though the number's high, 7.5, Philly just sucks so bad. New Orleans has been so good. Plus, I don't know if it's a revenge spot, but a bounce back spot for New Orleans. They'll put it on them.
Yeah, I agree. I think that'd be my second favorite one also.
Fair, very fair. All right, folks. Well, that's our picks episode part of it. Now we're going to jump over to the DFS. But before we do that, I want to tell you that the USFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Shady Rays and Shady May. Yes, Shady Rays is teaming up with SGPN for Shady May. Not only do you get an amazing 50% off anything in the store, but you also get a chance to win $500 of cold, hard cash, baby. Shady Rays has you covered from the sun to the slopes with premium polarized shades, customizable snow goggles, and much, much more. Shady Rays has durable frames and extremely clear optics for all those outdoor adventures everyone's going on this summer. And that's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. Even on day one, if you I don't know, you're in a fight, you're arguing in the car while you're driving with your wife, your girlfriend, maybe you're just saying, no, I don't want to go to that restaurant. You're mad. She wants to go spend more money. You just take your glasses, throw them out the fucking window, right? As you're driving down the road, and then you go, damn it, those are my new glasses. You turn around, pick them up. Then you contact Shady Rays, say, look, I broke my pair of glasses. They're not even going to ask any questions. Boom, next one, rolling to you, all right? You can wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after your purchase. Look, and for our international listeners, Shady Rays has you covered as well. They now are offering shipping to Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. Go to shadyrays.com. Use that promo code SGPN for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Then take your receipt over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/shady for your chance to win $500 of cold hard cash in our Shady May contest. Do all that, and remember, as always, to let it ride. All right, folks, DFS action. I'm excited. I might be down here in the jungle, but I'm still playing some DFS action. And I actually left a cool $200 out there on my lineup. How'd you guys feel about, did you leave any money out there, Nick?
I got an extra $700 that I did not need. I just blew it up I blew it at the bar basically because I didn't need it.
Patty C?
Hold on, I missed the whole prompt. I'm watching this Lakers Denver game. Sorry. Throw it back at me.
Focus, Patty. Focus. Did you have any money left on the table?
After
you rostered your DFS team?
Yeah. I definitely had some money left on the table because I got the W last week. Okay. So there's gonna be money.
No, did you spend all the money?
Last week.
No, this week.
Missing a little bit. I want to say $300 left.
Okay. All right. That was painful. Jeez. Yeah. Maybe we should just move it a quarterback.
No more questions. All right. Who's your quarterback? I think there's a clear-cut bargain shopper.
We've been talking about him all episode.
Yeah, $8,400. Troy Williams, dual threat. He's led this Mauler team in rushing the past 3 weeks, and he's coming to his own, passing the ball. I'm all over Troy Williams, $8,400.
The fact that he's been over 20 fantasy points the last 2 games, and there's 6 quarterbacks more expensive than him is ridiculous. I think at 8.4K, it is a bargain. I rostered Troy Williams as well.
There we go. Patty C, what did you do at the old quarterback spot?
Triple down on that. I know I just said not 10 minutes ago that he might have a difficult time, a more difficult time without the strong lead. But yeah, the stats are the stats, and he's getting better. And you're right, the DraftKings seems to be a little slow in terms of adjusting the value of the player,
Yeah, it's like they don't watch the USFL. It's okay. We'll clean up. At running back, so we all have the same quarterback. Interesting. At running back, I paid up for the best running back in the league from a stat standpoint in West Hills, $11,500. I will load up because the Philadelphia Stars, they can't stop the run. I think he's going to have a huge game. So I loaded up with him. NC Nick, I'm sure you did too.
Yeah, man. I got 2 running backs on my roster, and I'm rolling out the Escalades here. I'm paying up big time at the running back position. I think in general with the USFL, it's tougher to find cheap running backs. It's easier to find cheap receivers who produce. So yes, my top guy is Wes Hills. Because he's been crushing it. Last week he didn't score a touchdown, surprisingly, after scoring 8 in the previous 3 games. So he's due for a touchdown, and the matchup is right.
Yeah, all over it. Patty C, did you load him up as well?
Wes Hills, he is one of my backs. I put him at flex, but yeah, I got 2, and I took the same approach, Nick. I went 2 Escalades. Just because their fantasy production, they're the 2 highest producing players in the league, and you have to have that. Now, I will say at the quarterback position, Magoo is so much higher than the next best quarterback. It's at 22.5 fantasy points per game compared to 16.6 for Bethel Thompson, and then after that, it's pretty fall far, for the rest of the quarterbacks.
Bethel Thompson's problem is that Hills gets all the touchdowns.
Yeah.
Bethel Thompson leads the league in passing yards, but he's only thrown for a handful of touchdowns because once they get close to the goal line, once they get in the red zone, they just feed Wes Hills. I love Bethel Thompson, but he's just kind of an average DFS player so far, and he's priced higher than Troy Williams, going back talking about the quarterback position. But all right, so we've alluded to the second running back, who it sounds like at least Patty C and I have him. The matchup isn't great, but we have Mark Thompson for 11.2K. Yeah, it's kind of tough rostering both really expensive running backs, but sometimes just don't overthink it, man. I mean, the guy just produces. He is one of the best players in the whole freaking league, regardless of position.
Well, I went different here. Look, you know what happens when a guy fumbles 3 times normally?
They bench his ass.
They bench him. And when I see a bargain play of Trey Williams, remember Trey Williams was injured the first 3 weeks of the season. He's starting to come along. He has, I think, 2 scores now in the season. $6,300. I'm on Trey Williams as he plays the Houston Gamblers. The other side of that Mark Thompson play. So give me that as my second running back. Your thoughts, NC Nick?
It's a solid play. I had him on my roster, I think last week or the week before, and it was a roster that won me a little bit of cash. He's solid. You just have to worry about the split. You have to worry how many touches he's going to get.
Yeah. All right, so we're done the running backs. Let's jump over.
By the way, highest rushing yards per play in the league among running backs. I mean, Johnson, Williams, and Magoo, the 3 quarterbacks, all have a higher rushing per yards per play average. But Williams, when he does get the ball, he goes.
Oh yeah, I mean, like him and Thompson, I thought were very underrated last year. Thought Victor and Scarborough got out of the press. But I think Trey Williams, kind of forgotten about this year as Thompson's catching the headlines now. Watch out. 6,300. Let's go. Top wide receivers as you come on. Guys, it's not too late to jump on this Pittsburgh Mauler offense because it's improving. And I get it. They're going up against Carnell Lake, and that defense has been pretty good. But my man Bailey Gaither has been getting targets the past couple of weeks. I think he had 7 targets a week ago. Give me Bailey Gaither at 6,800? I think 8,200. That is my top wideout. NC Nick, what'd you do here?
Well, same page, wrong chapter. Is that a saying? I kind of just made that up.
Same page, wrong chapter. Well, it's wrong book then, right?
I don't know.
On the same team,
that's possible.
Same position. It's just different guy. So I didn't have the money to spend up for Bailey Gaither, but I did want to stack a receiver with my quarterback. And the other receiver for Pittsburgh who's really starting to shine is Isaiah Henney. He has 7 targets in back-to-back games. Last week against Michigan, he caught 6 for 62 and a touchdown. Maybe there's a 1A and 1B for Pittsburgh, but I don't think Henney is that much down further than Gaither, and he's $2K cheaper. So I'll take Henney for 6.6K.
Well, what if I told you I had him on my team too?
Oh, you're really leaning into a game that you went under.
I went under because they're going to shut out the Showboats. They're going to win 27-0. I'm all over this Maulers team. They're best team in the league. All right. Wrong chapter, right book. I don't care. All right.
Same page, different chapter.
Yeah. Well, look, take Bailey Gaither. You can bookmark that one.
There
All
you
right.
go.
And Patty C, who's your top wideout or your? I've given away 2 of my wideouts now, so I guess give away 2.
I do like the Bailey Gaither play, and Henny actually. I mean, Troy Williams. Maybe this is a generalization, but the way I've seen him succeed is short passes, making that offense easy for him before you try and force him to throw the ball downfield. They're doing these little screens. Groshek getting touches. Stokey, the other white running back, getting touches. By the way, Madre London higher rushing yards per average than you would think.
He's way better than the other running back. Every time I see him hand off to these white stiffs, I say, what are they doing? They have Madre London
for screen passes. That's what they're good for. Blocking and then slip them out and get a screen. But outside of that, yeah, they have no value. But Bailey Gaither is a nice player out of the slot. He's a tough little Wes Welker guy. And then Henny, is your it kind of reminds me of who's the nutcase that was on the Steelers and then the Bucks.
Just Hardy Nickerson.
Hardy Nickerson. No, running back. Good.
Garrett Blunt.
No.
He played for both. The
wide receiver who's a fucking nutcase.
Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown. He's a super athletic dude. Henny's one of these dudes that might actually have pro potential based on his athleticism. So I do like that. But all that to say, my top receiver, I'm going back to the well. I'm going Justin Hall, 16.3 fantasy points per game. He gets targets. He usually has several receptions. I see the explosiveness. I mean, he had 3 receptions right off the bat a week or 2 ago when I drafted him, and then they just stopped going to him. But
my problem with they stopped going to him because Terry Wilson's quarterback now, and Terry Wilson's always struggled to throw a forward pass. He's a great player, but I'm worried about his production without Bahar.
Yeah, but you live and you learn. Patty C, who's your second wideout?
I didn't really invest. I guess that's the price of spending so much on running backs is that I didn't really invest in receivers too much. I took a value play here, Lee Morris with New Orleans. Granted, they're playing against Philadelphia, so hopefully that means they'll have success. Although it might also mean they're running the ball to run out of the clock once they get a big lead. But Lee Morris. In the absence of who was their top guy?
Wasn't Lee Morris a pitcher on the Detroit Tigers in the mid-'80s, Nick?
Lee Smith?
Yeah, maybe Jack Morris and Lee Smith.
There you go. I think you're combining.
And anyway, Patty C, what was your question?
It wasn't Jay Adams. It was the other guy who's hurt. Who's the other?
Johnny
receiver?
Dick.
There you go.
Yeah. So with him hurt, the targets have gone up for Lee Morris in the past couple of weeks. 9.7 fantasy points per game for $4,100. Decent value, whatever.
Play the music. I have Lee Morris as well.
Going with these 80 pitchers, Lou Whitaker. All right. He's not a pitcher, but goddamn, he played baseball in the 80s. Sounds like a USFL player.
I just think if you're looking at offenses to target, New Orleans is one of them. And I was in the same boat as Patty with not a whole lot of money to spend at receiver. So I'm going to take a flyer on one of these breaker wideouts.
All right, well, look, my third and final wideout, since we're here now, I'm loading up on Austin Watkins, the former UAB Blazer, for $3,700 with the Stallions.
Play the music again. You guys are stealing all my thunder here.
Do you even have a team? Just saying, Nick came unprepared. He just said, yeah, play the music. I got whatever you got. So those are my wideouts. I'm all the way. All I got to give away is the defense. What do you guys have left, Nick?
No, just the defense also. Yeah, my 3 wideouts were Henny, Morris, and Watkins. Patty, do you still have one more receiver out there?
I do have one more receiver. It's Myron Mitchell for Birmingham, a UAB product. Been targeted on average exactly 4 times per game, but averages 3 catches per game, So whatever. He's good for typically about 30 yards at a very cheap price that I'm trying to fill in here. I think that's decent production, so whatever.
There you go. Well, look, I'm curious what you guys are doing defensively. I have a feeling Nick probably played my defense, which I'm loading up on the New Jersey Generals because I think they're going to make Terry Wilson maybe throw a few picks, and then I think they're going to shut down Mark Thompson. So I went for $3,900 with the New Jersey Generals. And
no,
Nick, what'd you do?
Yeah. we've been talking about the Maulers, the best defense ever in the spring, and they're $100 cheaper.
Yeah.
Actually,
I thought for sure you'd be all over the Maulers.
You just swayed me.
Okay.
Maulers defense, 11.2 fantasy points per game. And the next closest defense, 9 fantasy points per game. And
I'm not sold on that Memphis offense either.
Yeah. I'm glad we had this episode because I feel a lot better now. Even though I do think the Generals are going to have a very good game plan.
That's a decent play too. They might have been my second favorite, but again, like the Maulers are underappreciated right now by DraftKings. The fact that there's 5 defenses higher. I mean, the Gamblers defense, who is playing New Jersey, and the Gamblers defense is averaging less than 4 points per game, and they're more expensive than the Maulers. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and GBO Farms is in the chat saying Patty C looks like a stunt double in Malibu's Most Wanted. Shout out to GBO Farms. He also says, will Janoris Johnson be drafted in the USFL this upcoming year?
We can hope. We can hope.
Yeah, we can only hope. All right, folks. Well, that's our show. We are the USFL Gambling Podcast. Give us a follow on Twitter at USFL Gambling. And also, remember, jump on over to YouTube. Subscribe to the USFL Gambling Podcast because we do this thing live. Next week, I'll be back in the studio. Actually, no. On the reaction show, which we're going to be doing Monday night, I will still be from remote. But then after that, we'll be back in the studio for Week 7 previewing picks and DFS. God willing, folks, give Patty C a follow on Twitter at PattyC831. Give NC Nick a follow on Twitter at NC__NICK. Give myself
Let's go Hurricanes. Carolina Hurricanes.
There you go. I thought Miami Hurricanes. ACC Nick speaking up there. Give me a follow on Twitter at the Colby D. And like I said, the USFL Gambling Podcast is on Twitter at USFL Gambling. The season has been great this year. I think there's a lot of good football teams and excited to see this weekend. And what else do we got? We got subscribe to the College Football Experience because we host that as well. We talk college football year round over there. Also check out the College Baseball Experience as the road to Omaha heats up, continues to heat up. Check out the Sports Gambling Podcast. Get that SGPN app for free in the App Store and Google Play Store. And come talk USFL with us in the Discord. SportsGamblingPodcast.com/Discord. A lot of fun there. All right. Until what? Next week. This is the USFL Gambling Podcast. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.